We're talking about the XFL-CFL merger, and I don't know if we're going to go down that road with Ryan Dinwiddie, our good and longtime friend, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, joins us today from his home office, I understand. Dinner, happy Friday. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well, Rod. Thanks for having me on the show. It's been a while.
It's been far too long, and I would have loved to have chatted with you as soon as you were hired by the Toronto Argonauts, but really nothing's changed since. I mean, you haven't been on the field yet, so let me ask you, how have you filled the time since that day that you signed that contract and had the splashy news conference?
Yeah, we stayed pretty busy. We have our scouting assignments as far as the CFL draft and some of the emails we might get from Murph for Pinball to, investigate some of these NCAA players. And we do that in the later afternoons, and kind of the mornings we kind of work together. And it's familiar with these guys, but it's still pretty new. I mean, Max never been in the scheme. Jarius hasn't, Marcus hasn't, Fred hasn't. So we spend a lot of time offensively to make sure we're talking the same thing terminology-wise and making sure that it makes sense and we're putting our players in a good spot to be successful.
And I know when called upon, you guys will be ready. But here's the question for you that if I'd have been at that news conference, I would have loved to have asked. And maybe you got it. But it was, what do you say to the people that don't think you're ready to be a head coach in the Canadian Football League? Lay it on me, Ryan.
I don't think you really can say much. I think you just got to put out a product on there that people start, believing in what you're doing and know you're doing the right things. Definitely unproven. I mean, I haven't called games since 2014. Dave was doing that in Calgary, and I feel comfortable doing that. I mean, I've been preparing for it, but it's unknown, and I get that. But it doesn't scare me from being able to do the job and the skeptics out there that don't understand what we're doing in our building. That's great. We just got to do what we need to do. And if you don't do well, you're going to get fired. That's just part of the business.
Which is fine, because you don't plan on getting fired. And I knew that would be your answer. And the people that say that's the kind of things that gets me out of bed every day. And I assume it is with you too. John Frenzy's got questions for you, but I just want to say this. You got a lot of Jones guys over there, which is awesome. And you mentioned calling plays. Stephen McAdoo's your offensive coordinator, correct? Or is he O-line coach? What's that split there?
Yeah, so he's the O-line coach. I wanted to give, Steve some love on here. Jarius is our coordinator. I'll call it, but Jarius is going to spend a lot of time with those quarterbacks. So I thought that was kind of the way it should be laid out. But Mac's a great coordinator. I thought he got the boot in Saskatchewan. I don't think it was deserving. I thought he did a great job there. Got Cody to the next level, being unproven, and being an O-line coach to be able to work with your quarterbacks, like that says something. So he's always done a good job in our meetings and in the past game. And I mean, he's a coordinator. I feel like I got him and Jarius, and Marcus is going to be the next one that's going to be a great coordinator. So I feel really comfortable about all those guys. And then the work ethic, they're always there, man. I can call those guys at midnight. Any time of the day, they're ready to meet. We met today for 3 hours and went through protections and just make sure we're on the same page. And he did a great job as well today.
Of course, they're grinders. And I don't even think the Riders had a quarterbacks coach with Fajardo, now that you mention it. So that would give Mac even more kudos for a West outstanding player season for Cody Fajardo. But anyways, I got more, but Hall of Fame Rider broadcaster John Frenzy's got some for you. What do you got, Frenzy?
Ryan, good to see you there. So what's the atmosphere like in Toronto with the guys that you brought in with some real good players, I think, and a pretty good organization? Are the fans getting excited about the team and they'll give it a shot anyway and come to the games?
I think so. I think, you look at Twitter. I leave that up to our media guys more so than me looking at it. I'm not much of a social media guy, but they seem excited about the potential that's there, and then the buzz is kind of created around the city. I think just across the board, the whole Canadian Football League, right, in this whole country, that we're going to have a great attendance once the season gets going. And guys and gals miss football, and it's going to be great, and I'm looking forward to it.
I think that's absolutely the case. But, when he talks about, well, where are you? Are you in Calgary now, or where are you at? Dinner?
I'm in Toronto. I've been here since January 3rd last year. My wife, we've been stuck here. Family hasn't got to come up and see the kid yet, but no, it's great. I enjoy Toronto. We're building something special. We have our, limitations, but we feel like we can overcome those.
Well, okay, so I should have known that you would be lock, stock, and barrel all in Toronto, and I guess with your young family, I know you would be loving the family time. But I was talking to Nataya J the other day, and he said he wants a Hard Knocks video series done on the Argos training camp. I said, why would you want that? And you're not even there. And he goes, all the talent. How are they going to fit all these guys in? good problems to have, Dinner.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's going to be some surprises. I think there might be a few rookies that are even unknown right now that might take some of these guys' jobs that are, highly known. And we'll see. We have great CFL depth with experience at the back end, especially receiver. And then we have these, defensive ends that are from the NFL, and we have a receiver that's from the NFL. We'll see. I mean, the more competition that you can have, I think that's not a bad problem.
There's no talk about your defense from anybody. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I kind of like that. It helps Glenn a little bit as far as the pressure taken off him being a first-year coordinator. But I think, you look at our D-line, what we did there, I think we're dramatically, better there. I mean, Charleston, now we got the kid Shane Ray from the Broncos. We'll see what he has. And so there's going to be great competition there. Cam Judge being a linebacker that could play DB, play linebacker. He could rush the passer. He does a lot of good things. So I'm very impressed by what we did on the personnel side to improve our defense.
What about the rest of the Eastern Conference? Is it going to be strong? Or I know it looks right now Hamilton the favorite, and they got the Grey Cup there this year, so they're loading up. But how about yourselves in Montreal and
Ottawa?
Yeah, I think, Hamilton's kind of just re-signed their guys. That's really the only thing they needed to do. They added Deontay Evans, who's a great player. He'll help them. I think Ottawa, stays true to who they are. They're going to be a darn good football team. But I think Montreal, was pretty aggressive in free agency, did a great job of improving their defense. So I have to spend a little bit more time on, worrying about Sewell and some of those other things. And, that's part of it. Everybody's going to reload every year. But we feel comfortable where we're at. We feel other teams got better as well. And there's going to be a lot of competition on the Eastern Conference compared to previous years.
Well, you know what? I thought it was, frankly, and I'm sorry to say, a one-horse race with Hamilton going into free agency, and now coming out, I think it's a three-horse race, and Ottawa's not part of that deal. That's how we've got it figured out, right, Frenzy?
Right on.
That's what we think, and you guys will decide when you get onto the field. But I got to go back to this. Lynch said in the break here, he goes like, "Do you think Merv's driving pinball nuts?" I said, "I bet you Merv's driving everybody nuts." But at least he's down in New. You know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
How much?
The one thing about Merv.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
No, the one thing you appreciate about Murph, he'll talk your ear off, and you almost want to get off the phone. You're on there for an hour and a half, but you appreciate his work ethic and the information that he gets from agents and how much time he spends researching these kids. And I appreciate that. And when I first took the job, I said, I know one thing: Murph's going to have enough talent for me to win, and that was key for me. So he was a big part of the me joining on here and becoming a part of the Argonaut family, as well as pinball as well. But those guys work really well together, but yeah, he's a little bit long-winded sometimes.
Well, we joke because we love him. And you can see why him and Jones got along, because they're grinders too, man. It's just, man, he can talk. As Jones says, press play, for Murph's nickname. But how much, he had to have a huge hand in getting you in there. I mean, did you have a history with pinball before you were hired as head coach of the Toronto Argonauts?
No, never. I've never had any discussions with him, and Murph kind of got the ball rolling and kind of told me their direction, their vision. And then so I wasn't, very comfortable with the situation from years past, and then talking with those two guys, and it would just made so much sense. And the fact that they believed in me and they knew, we're going to have some, growing pains. I got to learn and I got to get better. And that comes with experience, and I get all that. But just for them to say, hey, I want to grow with this young kid. I believe in you. Let's do this. And I was on board 100%, just the fact that they believe in me and we will work together, all three, and we'll be fluid. And, we might not have agreements all the time, but we're going to treat each other like men with respect and make sure we do what's best for the organization, not our own opinions.
Of course. And I think it's an outstanding troika. Say some fun questions from the viewers here. Colin in Ottawa wants to know how happy you are to get your hands on Nick Arbuckle again. That kind of fell into your favor quite well.
Yeah, it worked out. Last year it was kind of different, and we approached free agency a little bit differently with Nick, and, Ottawa made the trade for him. But I believe in Nick a ton, and I always tell everybody, like, the one time where it sold me was when we went to Sask and dealt with all the crowd noise, and he played well and just kind of proved himself to me. I know I can count on him. Week in, week out, he'll be dialed in. And does he need to improve? Absolutely. We all do. But I think, just the leadership that he'll bring to the table, the understanding of the offense, it's going to help us out tremendously.
I thought we had you that day. You guys had other ideas. And lastly, from somebody's the quiet card they call themselves on YouTube, how about your salary cap? Have you heard the noise, Dinner? You said you're not a social media guy. Have you seen the criticism of the Argos spending here in free agency?
Well, I mean, you just look at the article that came out as far as the quarterback salaries from last week. That should tell you a ton. Where Nick's, at 8th or 9th getting paid, and that allows us to spend some money other places. But I don't think we're nowhere near as much as other teams and what the media portrays. Yeah, we have a lot of good football players in here, but a lot of these guys from the States are on, rookie contracts. We have to pay our veteran CFL players what they deserve, absolutely. But we're not going overboard just throwing money around to these guys. Everybody's getting what they're worth, but we're making sure it works under the guidelines that we expect to be successful from this year and then moving forward.
Well, you're one of 9 teams that can't wait to go out onto the field and prove it. So I'll say all the best, Ryan. I can't wait to see what's going on in Toronto. They've become my team because of the personnel you got there. And I appreciate the time. Thank you. Good luck.
No, Rod, thanks for having me on. And then I got to give out a shout out to Larry Mueller, who I call the mayor of Regina there at Auto Extreme. He's the man. I call him the mayor of Regina, so just so everybody knows.
You should have put the camera on Lynch on that one. Oh boy, yeah, Larry Mueller, he is something else. The czar.
Right. Bizarre, that's the word, bizarre.
The czar. Yeah. All right, thanks, Dinner. There you go, Ryan. You too. The father of Mark Mueller. For years, he was the son-in-law of Ron Lancaster. That's how we knew Larry Mueller, and then it just went to the father of Mark Mueller.
Yeah, that's right.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.